Welcome to the Sykes & Company PA video blog featuring Ollin Sykes. Are there some key mistakes that people make when they're looking to buy a pharmacy?
It's amazing that I will get on the phone because we consult with a lot of pharmacists that are in a transition stage, typically in the purchasing side of the equation. They'll give me an idea. This is the pharmacy I'm interested in purchasing. This is where I'm currently working, or this is what I intend to do. And I ask them a series of questions to kind of be a feeler as to how far they've gone in the process. And a lot of times, sometimes they've come straight out of the NCPA ownership workshop. That's the first thing you need to do is you need to go to the NCPA ownership workshop if you're thinking of buying a pharmacy. And even if you've already just bought a pharmacy, you've bought a pharmacy in the last year, taking out 2.5 days of your life with your spouse or with your significant other and going to this McKesson sponsored event through the NCPA is the single most important thing you can do to help yourself be educated about pharmacy ownership. All that said, assuming you've gone to that, you've got some base information, I always ask them, well, what is it you're buying? Well, I'm not sure. Is the response I get a lot of time. And they say, what are you talking about? I said, well, are you buying assets of the pharmacy that you're interested in owning? Or are you buying the common stock of the entity? Or are you buying or leasing the real property the pharmacy operates within? And it's like a deer in headlights. A lot of times they do not know what it is they have discussed or talked about because there probably hasn't been a term sheet that's been put together by anybody at that point in time. It's just general discussion, and they know they have an interest in doing it and know they want to make a really a life-changing event by purchasing the pharmacy. So the takeaway here is you need to understand what it is that you are buying. And there are advantages and disadvantages to buying common stock. There's advantages and disadvantages to buying the certain assets of the entity and you setting up your own, let's say, LLC and perhaps taxing that as an S corporation. But right there are issues that are covered at the ownership workshop in detail. And if you're listening to this video and you don't have a clue what I'm talking about, you need to probably just time out, wait until you go to that workshop, sit there for a day and a half or 2 days. In fact, there's a good half, 2/3 of a day that's kind of on these topics here, and listen and learn what you can about the options, especially listen to some of the legal options that you have with respect to this. But that's probably the key mistake that I see is that they don't really know what it is that they're buying, and they don't have a clue. And there's nobody in the queue that's helping them that has experience in dealing with pharmacies.
Mistake number one is to not actually know what you're buying, and it sounds like mistake number two is to not have the right kinds of experts on your side.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you've got to have a team of experts in dealing with you through this perhaps once in a lifetime type of a transition that you're having. And you're probably in your 30s, maybe in your 40s. You've got work experience. Maybe you've been working at the CVS, the Walmart, or maybe an independent in the region, and you've had this opportunity come up, and you want to grab it and you want to run with it, but you really, and you may have an accounting course here, and you may have a friend that's an attorney locally, but I can tell you that local attorney probably has never dealt with a pharmacy-specific transaction and all the issues that are affected here. So you need the recognized experts that deal with these kinds of things. Yes, it will cost you some money on the front end. You need to be prepared for that. You may be talking to one of the financing institutions that deal with pharmacies specifically in the industry. If you're not, you need to be, versus dealing with a local or a community bank who probably knows nothing about community pharmacy, much less a specialty pharmacy or a long-term care pharmacy, whatever the case is. You just need to be dealing with people that do this on a continuous, regular basis.
If someone's really looking at buying a pharmacy, if the time window is pretty short, maybe it's a few months, and there isn't an NCPA show coming up, these are the kind of conversations you have all the time, the kind of consulting that you do a lot. They can just pick up the phone and call you.
I probably have half a dozen of these transactions going on as we speak. In fact, I've already been involved with one earlier this morning. It's all about the niche of community pharmacy, if that's in fact what you're looking at, and you need those niche players to help you negotiate the best deal. And I've got to tell you a real quick story. We're also dealing with a group currently that we started working with about 2 years and 3 months ago. And we told them then basically this. They chose to go local on some matters. And as a result of that, their pharmacy is still not yet open. This was going to be an organically grown startup type of specialty pharmacy. And they've had nightmare issues with respect to all the kinds of things that you can think about with respect to regulation, approvals, attorneys. They didn't go out and hire the experts. Now they are. But after 2 years of hassle and delay, they finally realized instead of doing what they thought they needed to do, they've reached out now to us, and now are listening and have hired the right people. Don't be that one, because you can do these transactions in 2 months or 2 years, but time is money, and the quicker you want to do these transactions and do them correctly, the better your team needs to be.
Thank you for joining us today. If you want more information or have any questions, please feel free to contact Ollin directly.